engagement do not have to be two worlds apart anymore. Hi, I'm Avika, and today we're going to be talking about Aerovate. Aerovate is a teen-run organization where they're super passionate about aerospace and making STEM something engaging and accessible for everyone. They're running workshops now, an update from when the interview was done, and the details are here and linked below. If anything, I want you guys to take away from this educational social determinant of health a few things. I hope that with this in mind, you'll look at other people's experiences differently, or otherwise just feel seen and heard in your own struggles and experiences, and hopefully apply it to better the world in some way, even if it's just helping out one person. I hope that with this in mind, you'll look at other people's experiences differently.
Small steps such as hosting meetings are translating into giant leaps of progress through engagement for Aerovate. Welcome Aerovate, where access to education is taken a step further than just access, where intellectual curiosity is being sparked and channeled into innovation, the ultimate goal of SDOH 1. Today, we'll learn more about what compelled the founder, the steps they're taking to engage teens, and what they envision for the future of their organization. First, I want to give a chance to their founder, Sneha, to introduce who they are and what they do.
Hi, it's really great to be on here. And like you said, my name is Sneha, and I'm one of the co-founders of Aerovate. The other co-founder, Pranav, he was unfortunately not able to make it today. But basically, we started this organization because of our passion for aerospace and our hope to inspire the next generation of innovators, which strangely enough is kind of how we thought of the name Aerovate, aerospace and innovate. At Aerovate, we design and schedule hands-on and online work shows where kids and teens can explore rocketry, drone technology, and other STEM fields through informational presentations, games, and real-world connections through some charities that we fundraise for. And our goal is to make aerospace accessible, exciting, and empowering for everyone, no matter their background or experience level.
That's great. And before we pivot into the questions, I want to give our listeners a quick overview of how what they just explained, their organization connects to our first SDOH of access to quality education. Now, similar to the last organization we interviewed, Checkmate Betul, while what they're doing is not directly impacting, say, public education or something like that, it's doing something even greater because they're giving access to resources and facilities is the first step, but they're sparking engagement, and engagement is so critical for people to set up a future or a foundation in these fields, STEM-related fields or otherwise. So they're providing an opportunity for people, regardless of their situation, to be engaged in learning and open new doors. So my first question for you is, many people our age start up organizations with the hope to expand their resumes or show initiative. What do you think defines real leadership in youth, and how does Aerovate demonstrate this?
So, I mean, of course, there's the benefit of starting up organizations. I think I've definitely seen a lot of organizations start up, small organizations for their resumes and stuff, which definitely has initiative in one way. But I think what shows like real leadership and real passion is what I like to say a villain backstory. I think for me specifically, my villain backstory is like when I was a kid, like in elementary school. I think I was looked down upon a lot because I was like super into like space and aerospace even. I like to talk about rockets a lot. And I think although like I'm sure like kids at that time didn't really understand what like they were saying to me or like how they were like kind of expressing themselves, but they didn't have like they didn't think they thought that just because I was a girl I wasn't like smart enough or able to go into a field like that. And especially because I just came from India. I was like in first grade, I had like a super thick strong accent. Everybody thought I was like someone who wasn't very smart, and especially since I wasn't good at English, since I just came to America. I wasn't very good at English. They thought I wouldn't be capable of doing something in science or engineering like that. And that's one of my main reasons why I want to start something like this, especially as a girl who faced all of this. And I want to bring something unique and meaningful to the table. And I know like a lot of these opportunities aren't available to everyone and aren't very accessible to everyone, especially for young people and especially for girls. And aerospace can seem like this very complicated world, which it is, but it's also very interesting as well. And I want to help change that. And through Aerovate, we basically just create a space where anyone, regardless of their background, experience, or age, or gender, can step into the exciting world of rockets, engineering, and space exploration.
Absolutely. And you know what? That was such a great answer that you almost answered like another one or two questions right there, but we will get to them later. And I especially love what you touched upon about how you began as just like a little girl super interested in aerospace. And the adversity that you faced just from like, I say adversity, but it's very real adversity for a little kid to be judged by the peers around them. And that really formed like it's critical to one's identity, like being accepted into their own community or just being liked by others, right? And when people don't like feel that they're fitting in, it pushes people away from fields like this and things that they might be interested in. So that's definitely something we're going to touch upon later on. But before we do that, I have a few more questions about how your organization runs and kind of the behind the scenes of that. So, what do the behind the scenes of Aerovate look like, as well as a typical meeting session?
So the behind the scenes, definitely very chaotic. Again, we are all teenagers really starting this, and
Mhm.
we're also kind of figuring out the ropes to everything. So we're definitely like working towards like, oh, how can we like advertise ourselves more? How can we like reach out to people more? What can we do to make ourselves better? What can we do to change what we're currently doing to be more effective to the community. And a lot of that is through messy texts or like random Zoom calls here and there.
Mhm.
But I think overall, we try to set up a sort of timeline of goals that we want to reach, maybe like by the next 2 months, by the end of the year, something like that.
Mhm.
And we try our best to kind of start small, of course. We're also teenagers, we have like big dreams or whatnot, but we definitely try to start small and see like, oh, maybe we can help this charity with fundraising. Maybe we can schedule a fundraising at this park, or maybe we can create posters to like
Mhm.
advertise ourselves more, or maybe we can like go set up a table somewhere and try to get people to sign up. So it's definitely a lot of, especially since we just started out, it's definitely a lot of we definitely have a lot of healthy communication and talking with everybody on how we're going to schedule certain things and how we're going to plan certain things. But I think at the end, we definitely have like a solid goal and how we want to accomplish all these things. So yeah.
Got it. Great. Okay, so kind of pivoting from that, what do you find to be the biggest hurdle that you've faced starting up Aerovate, and how might that have shaped the course of Aerovate or your vision for Aerovate?
So I think our biggest struggle or our biggest obstacle was something I just mentioned, advertising and putting ourselves out there, especially starting an organization and trying to reach out to people. Our only platforms right now are LinkedIn and Instagram. So it's a
I'm following you
little,
guys on LinkedIn.
yeah.
Sorry, go
Thanks.
on.
Thanks. Um, so yeah, it's really hard to, especially since we're trying to reach out to little kids. It's hard to reach out to the parents since little kids most likely don't have social media at this day and age. So the biggest hurdle that we faced so far is we started off a couple of workshops and we realized that there was a good amount of people for like starting off a workshop. There was maybe like 6 or 7 people that had joined, but I think as time progressed, people did get like a little bit bored, I would say, just because we were only holding online sessions at this point. There were not many people to really talk to or converse.
Mhm.
So we saw a few people leaving from time to time, some people joining from time to time, and I think that's the biggest issue, just trying
Mm.
to get people more interested about this because I mean, I'm sure the kids are interested, or like the kids that wanted to
Mhm.
participate are interested, but we definitely need to work on trying to not bore them as much with a bunch of information, but have more, I guess, pictures or more like exciting details to keep them captivated.
Got it. And that actually, again, works seamlessly with our next question, which is, you're a woman in STEM or aspiring to be a woman in STEM to go into a somewhat male-dominated, though rapidly transforming field. I'm of the belief, like I mentioned before, that the accessibility is great, but it's essential to spark interest in STEM, especially female interest, but just interest in general, because you guys cater to all different kinds of people.
Mhm.
So to do that, I want to know, what can we do to engage young women, girls, kids in STEM in a way that actually speaks to them, not to force them into a path, just to give them exposure to these different fields.
That's a really good question. So I think I'm going to speak from my personal experience as a young woman and how I got interested in STEM. Just to not make it so intimidating. I think one thing that I see a lot is whenever someone mentions something about STEM, they're like, "Oh, you have to like engineering is so hard. It has so much math, so much science. Like you have to do so much school for this." And I think honestly, part of that makes STEM and just like anything related to STEM,
Mhm.
like aerospace, very intimidating to people, which is probably why they start losing interest. And another thing is telling like young girls like me or anyone actually, if they're not smart enough for something, or just because they're doing bad in like maybe a core engineering subject or a core STEM subject, like maybe math or science, just because they're doing a little poorly in them, all of a sudden they're pretty much hopeless. That's definitely not true and definitely not the case for anybody. Anybody has the capability to go into STEM and do amazing in it. It's just we need to work towards making this not so scary, but make it seem as it's an opportunity for people who are genuinely interested to go into it, to show that yes, there is a lot of math and a lot of calculations in science and aerospace, but there's also a lot of innovations being created and a lot of inventions that are bringing into light a lot of new things that we didn't know about before that could actually help our world progress and become greater. And I think that's what we really need to focus on rather than showing that, oh, it's super hard and scary, don't go into it, or it's super hard and scary, you have to go into it to make lots of money or whatever. You want kids, especially in this day and age, to love the actual STEM field rather than just do it just because they're either being forced to or not do it because they're too scared to.
Absolutely. So the key I'm getting from what you said, and I'm absolutely in agreement, is that we have to make STEM more approachable instead of intimidating. And I think, like you touched upon at the end of what you were saying, is that some of that stems from like people wanting to push kids into STEM, but in order to push kids into STEM, media, parents, everyone really emphasizes how like, oh, STEM is so hardcore, it's this intense area, but you're gonna earn so much and you have all these opportunities. Like in the process of trying to show the importance and value of STEM, we've made it out to seem like something so untouchable, something that you just can't be a part of. I think that's what we need to shift. Like we need to both show the value of STEM and the amount of like work it takes to get there, but also make it seem approachable and something that we can all become a part of. Because I know people like I went to a school for biomed, right? And if I would mention that to someone from out of biomed, someone who's not interested in that, they'd go, "Oh my God, like I can't even imagine. Like I don't even I would never ever even want to like you know, dabble in that field. Like, it's so not for me. But I feel like if people just gave things, like, if we made it possible for people to give things a chance without the fear of being judged or the fear of not being good enough for the field, they would really fall in love with a lot of STEM fields. So,
Exactly. I
yeah,
completely
exactly, exactly. So, my last question for you is that a critic would suggest that an interest club isn't going to make an impact on engagement in aerospace, that it won't have any reach. How would you rebuttal that?
So I wouldn't say that it wouldn't have an impact. And I think a lot, okay, I think I kind of picture this question a little differently. I think when the critic is saying something like this, they're saying that it wouldn't have a large scale impact. And maybe that might be true. Although my what I think I might accomplish with Aerovate, I definitely don't think that's true. I definitely think I'll definitely be able to make something out of this. But in the case that I don't and it doesn't have a large scale impact, that doesn't mean that I'm making zero impact at all. even if it's maybe one or two kids that actually pay attention or join our sessions, I'm still making an impact to them. And making that impact might even have them create something like this in the future. And I think that's kind of the chain reaction which I want to see in the world. Even if I might not be able to make as big of an impact as I want to make an impact to maybe one or two kids who might be able to make a bigger impact than me in the future. I want to create like a foundation or even a base for a couple of kids to rise up to more opportunities and help other kids rise up to those opportunities if I wasn't able to. But of course, my goal for Aerovate is to create a huge foundation, not just with a few couple of kids, but with a lot of kids and a lot of kids who will help even more kids around the world, not just here, not just like the states near us or like the counties near us or the towns near us, but all over the world. Because I'm positive that there are tons of kids out there that could definitely use an opportunity like this. And if in the case that I'm not able to, I want to help someone else that might be able to. But in the case that I am able to, I want to help everybody in the world by creating a platform or creating a website that people can easily reach out to that doesn't cost money or doesn't cost much effort
Mhm.
to kind of learn simple aerospace news or anything like that. So yeah.
That was really, really beautifully put. And what I want to say about that is I'm so in agreement that even a small scale impact has, well, A, it has the potential to ripple into bigger impact through, the people who you inspire, inspiring others. But even if we just take all that back for a second, a lot of what we do as teens, I mean, we're teens. We don't have the resources of someone with a huge platform and a following to make that kind of impact, but it has to start somewhere. And with all of these teens, including you guys and several other teens that I've been in conversation with, they're doing their own little thing, and they might just be, for now, it might just be, like you said, six, seven kids that they're engaging. But all together, this does have an impact. All of these little small scale efforts have a huge impact. And like you said, you're building a foundation for something that um, can continue to grow and grow and couldn't, and hey, even if it's just one or two kids, those one or two kids could be the first people in their family to go into a STEM related field. It
Mhm.
could just completely open up new doors. And even if someone doesn't choose to go into aerospace into for a permanent career, they got the chance to prove to themselves that they could do it and they got to learn. And that's the most important part. So thank you so much for being here. And before you leave, I want to know what can our listeners and our community do to support Aerovate?
Thank you so much for having me. And I think one of the biggest things is definitely follow us at Aerovate
Yes,
underscore
we'll link that.
organization. And definitely follow us, like share our post, share it to people that you might think might be interested in aerospace, or share it to or different organizations that might be up for the opportunity to share our own organization to kind of get the message out, because we want this message to reach out to as many people as possible, and those people will reach out to even more people, which is kind of how I guess our organization will only spread through the limited social media that we have. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been episode 4 of season 1, Small Steps, Giant Leaps. Thank you so much for everyone for listening. And yeah, that's all. Bye.
Bye.